Hey, happy Friday, everyone. I am very excited and thrilled to have Rhonda Guzman with us today. She is an expert, among other things, she is an expert on dementia care, caring for people with dementia. She has a wonderful, I'm just going to read a little bit about Rhonda so that you get to know. She has a master's degree in gerontology. She is an occupational therapist. She's an aging life care professional, a certified dementia practitioner, certified validation worker, dementia capable care certified instructor, and a memory care and activity program consultant. She has over 27 years across the healthcare field, and I am just thrilled to have you with us. One of the topics is the holidays, and including our seniors and those maybe with dementia or Alzheimer's in the festivities. So let's start with the invitation and how do we prepare the other guest, how to prepare the guest.
Excellent.
Want to start there? Does that sound like a fair?
Yep. Absolutely. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. We can hear you.
Excellent. I'm going to say that, first of all, before we even talk about what to do, you have to definitely understand where your loved one is, in the stages of dementia, because everybody's different in how they interact, and you really just need to, it's customized to each person. So some of the tips I may give you maybe work for your loved one, may not. So I just want to say that everyone's unique, everybody's different. And so we want to make sure that we, strategies are really specific to each individual. But I would say holidays are really important times to spend times with your loved ones with dementia. I think that holidays in general, just seeing, the trees and the decorations and things like that bring back a lot of memories and emotion. So I think it's really important to be sensitive to this time of year. And so, first of all, depending on your situation and where your loved one is, you have to think to yourself before you even plan your festivities with them. You have to think to yourself, is this going to be something, if I'm planning a festivity, is this something that my loved one will enjoy? Is this going to be stressful for them? Is this going to be upsetting to them? Is this going to throw them off the routine? Is this something that we're doing for them? Or is this something we're doing for us? Are we including them because we feel obligated to include
or guilty?
Them? Guilty. So that's the first step, because if truly the event is not going to benefit them, you may want to consider something less involving of them, because it may throw them off completely. You may prepare everything as with the strategies and quiet place and all these different things, but if it throws them off, it won't be beneficial for them and it will be disruptive. So that's the first step. But let's say the person, the family member is really, able to, doesn't have a lot of behavior and is really, really comfortable, and you're able to include them. Then the planning starts. The first thing I would say is, are you going to do it in a home environment? Are you going to include them in your to a restaurant or a place? So you got to want to first plan where is this engagement going to be? If it's in the home, you want to consider how many people you're inviting. Yeah. So if you're doing it at home, you want to consider the audience who's coming. Like, is it just close family, which I would recommend not having too many people who don't know your loved one, people who really want to see your loved one, because you just don't know how they're going to react. So you just want to make sure it's small and quaint. You want to make sure there's a space that your loved one can go relax and take a break if it gets too much. You want to make sure that your loved one doesn't feel like they have to know everybody's names or remember things, that they're, it's a safe environment for them. So a little, communication with your loved one before, kind of saying, don't worry if you don't remember people's names. It's, we'll remind them. You want it, you also would like it to be limited time wise, so they don't have to stay the entire time. So you may want to plan a shorter visit. Also, if you can make the time a time of the day that you know your loved one is doing best. I mean, I wouldn't do it late at night, or even, late afternoon is sometimes difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe during the daytime, with some light, some natural light. And, it's just, it would even be better if you can invite them over the day before and have them help decorate, get them involved in the preparation and prepare them for what the plan is going to be.
Oh, I love
First
that.
everybody's going to get here, mom. And then afterwards, we're going to all sit down and have a light dinner. And then, then you could go rest. So it's more of a structured engagement. So yeah, those are some of the things if you're having it at your home. If you're going out to a restaurant, there's always recommendations of how to attend a location that has lots of people. You don't know what to expect. You don't know what the other, restaurant people at the restaurant are, how they are talking, how loud, and you don't know what kind of distraction. So it's a little more unknown, a little less controlled environment. So a way to control it is to, first of all, maybe make a phone call to the restaurant prior and say, hey, I'm bringing my mom. She has some dementia and she gets very overwhelmed. Is there a table that maybe is in the corner? I want to make sure she faces the wall, my family in the wall, not all the other people there, and kind of set up the stage of the location, as well as maybe with your loved one, have them review the menu before or have a set menu so they don't have to be stressed on trying to figure out the menu. That's really important, and include them in the conversation. But everybody at the table, it should be kind of a small environment so they can hear. If they have hearing problems, that's going to be a challenge.
Right.
And if they don't ask questions, if they don't engage, that's okay too. If they're just sitting there and observing, you don't have to try to get them involved, because just them being there, as long as they're not showing distress, is really good enough, and they may benefit from it. I would be aware that afterwards, I wouldn't just drop them off at their home or wherever they are. I would just kind of make sure that they're doing okay later that evening, that it didn't overwhelm them. Maybe, sometimes afterwards it can be over stressful.
Oh, I love all of this. That's so true. When you're talking, things are coming back to me, and I can see where, yeah, you just don't want to assume, oh, they're great, they were great, and just dump them off, and then they have to become reoriented.
Completely. It's just, it could be overwhelming, and it's not that it's a bad thing. We just have to be prepared. I think, sometimes when you don't see your loved one, or, the guests don't see your loved one for a long time, and then all of a sudden the holidays and you see them in person, especially if you live at a distance, and you may be a little shocked at some of the changes you may notice, or your love or the other people coming. So I would say the first thing is, if you don't have constant contact with your loved one, like visiting and engage, I would definitely spend some time with them before you plan all these, get-togethers and parties, and see how they're doing. Because it's very easy to assume things are good, but when you go and you actually see them for the first time after a long time, you may notice some changes that you were not aware of. And the guest coming also, especially if they haven't seen them in a long time. So first, I would say whoever is hosting it kind of gets a pulse on how your loved one is doing. Maybe send an email out to everybody else with there's, some things, just, hey, you may notice mom's a little different. She may have a hard time remembering your name. Don't keep asking her the same, mom, I told you what my name is, don't you remember? And, try not to use the term, don't you remember?
Yeah, don't you remember? That's an important way. Wait, don't you remember? Wait, or speaking louder, right? That's one.
Yeah.
Start to yell that they might get it.
I'm not sure I understand. Totally. Oops. Talk to my phone.
Right. Siri is not liking our discussion there.
Not liking it. No, but it's true. And letting them know kind of, what to expect. If your loved one has some behaviors, some strange ways about them that to somebody else may be very, odd, you want to share that with them. She may start pacing, just let her pace. Or, if you can, if she starts to kind of like look like she's stressed out, maybe step away, or, whatever it is. But it's important that somebody, you or somebody, can share how she's functioning right now, so that somebody entering who isn't prepared is prepared. So in email, it could be an email. You could send a current picture of her. Hey, this is what she looks like right now. Just so you know, she's using a walker now, and anything else that may be beneficial for them and yourself to prepare for the holidays.
You mentioned something that I want to go back to. Maybe it's not always, I think sometimes families do what they do because they feel guilty, but it might not be the best thing for the loved one. So I'd like to circle back to that, that it's okay if they are more comfortable in their environment. Do you want to speak to that, to maybe go to see them one at a time for short periods of time?
This is a common conversation I have with my clients. They call me to say, hey, Rhonda, how do I prepare for this visit? Or I want to take my mom on a trip, or we want to take her to Florida. We want to take her here. We want to do this. We want to, and the first thing I say to them is, really honestly, is this something she's been asking for? Is this something that she's been talking about? Is she time confused? Does she understand it's the holiday time? Is she, so I first ask, like, how is she functioning? And is this something that you can tell that she would definitely enjoy? It's something that she's been looking forward to? Or is this something that you just want to do because you feel like you haven't spent enough time with her, or, you want to, whatever it is, you want her to you want everybody to see her and things like that. That's the first thing to break down. And, I do say to clients, if you're doing this and it's for you, like I had one client, here's an example. He wanted to take his wife to Florida to see his family. And I said, would she really, and they haven't seen them in years, and she was really in a bad place. And I said to him, if you were in her shoes, would you want them to see you like this? And he thought for a while. She goes, absolutely not. And I said, okay. He said, but I'm pretty sure this will be the last time they'll get to see her. And I said, okay. So you're making the decision to take her. It may not be beneficial for her, but you're doing it for your family. And that's okay. That's okay. But you got to go prepared. You got to go prepared. And so in the end, he actually got a private jet, a private airplane, because the way he had it on with public, with the regular airplane commercial flight, I'm like, oh, that's not going to work. She had a lot of behaviors. So he prepared. He was extremely prepared. It was a very, very tough trip. It was not easy. It was a very expensive trip. Yeah. It was very challenging, but it was important to him, and he was prepared. He wasn't expecting it to be and in that case, it's okay. But if you go thinking, oh, we're going to do this, it's going to be wonderful, we're going to do all these things, she's going to enjoy, and then it doesn't go as planned, that's a different story.
Right. I think that he's very blessed to have had you give him that. Let's talk about exactly what we're doing and who we're doing it for. And I think in dealing with seniors in general, often people are very well-meaning, but it's coming from their guilt or what they want or what they're afraid of. Sometimes it's difficult to look at what really might be best for the parent or the senior. And do you see that a lot?
Absolutely. It's hard, it's not easy being having somebody, a parent or a loved one, that you feel like you're not spending enough time, or you know that they need you and they want you and you can't be there, and the guilt, or they're in a community, or it's time to move to a community, and you have the guilt because you told them you would never move them out of the home, and all these different things. It's a lot. This is a lot of emotion for everyone, and you got to just give yourself some okay, it's okay, not take the guilt away, and know that whatever you're doing, you're choosing because you know it's the best for them. And and they may not be able to make decisions. So we're so used to our parents or our spouses making the decisions for us, and when the dementia hits, they can't make those decisions. We have to make that for them, and that in itself is like, was it the right decision? Is that, I knew she didn't want that, and I made a decision I knew she wouldn't want, but it's the best for her. I mean, this guilt. So yeah.
And sometimes, I would say too, there's a decision where they could get help in a community, but because you said, I promised I wouldn't put you there, they might be living a better life for them with trained staff 24/7 instead of, and the right activities and the right stimulation. And
yeah, I mean, I could tell you, and again, every person's unique. So when I approach it with my clients, it's really like, we have to all be on the, first of all, everybody has to be on the same page for those decisions, all the family members,
right.
And everybody has to approach it with their loved one together, unified. That's really important. But I've seen people get better with their cognition, physically better, happier, but it takes transition time. And I think the family needs to understand that. And it may not be your parent or your loved one's choice. Once they're there, it may take a month or two, and then you're going to be like, wow. And then on top of it, the family care partner, or the stress and the burden that goes with taking care of, Betsy, you're very well aware. The stress that goes well with it is not good for you, and it's not good for them.
Right.
They need you healthy. They need you in a good mindset. They need they feel your stress. And so if they're in a home environment, or with a private caregiver, and they're sitting in front of the TV all day doing nothing while the caregiver is not doing anything, you got to really think, is this best for them? Maybe right. They promise them I would never move them from this house, but is this best for them? So
right. And I think, and so tell me, how can families, like, what's your ideal client? What are the families that you can really help? Who would want to call you to?
Yeah, honestly, anybody, I always ask my client, I do free, 20-minute consult calls. And, when I call, the first thing I ask is like, what made you pick up the phone and call me? Like, right. What was it? Usually it's either crisis time, like something's going on. We need guidance. We don't know what to do. Like they're in rehab and we don't know where to send them from rehab, right. or we're leaving town. I mean, there's crisis. Or it's like, I feel like I need, I know what I think where we need to go, but I'm not sure how to plan for the future. I just got this diagnosis. My parent just got this diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, and I am not prepared for it. I don't know where to go. I don't know what the next step is. How do we plan financially? Do we have all our powers of attorney? Do we have everything is everything set up? How are we going to financially plan for this? Do they have money if we needed to get a caregiver? I mean, all these, and then I help them with the resources, and I definitely collaborate with a lot of other professionals, like
right.
Betsy and other, depending on what the needs are. I can support them as much as they need or as little. Sometimes I'm that check-in person. The family's out of state, and they're like, Rhonda, do you mind just checking in on them once a week, once every 2 weeks, and make sure they're doing okay, and then let us know. And that's like peace of mind. It really just depends.
Yeah. And I would say that when we are talking about seniors or anybody across the board, it's not like, you have a broken arm. Your arm is broken. It's in these three places, and we're going to put a cast on this, and this will fix your arm. Everyone is a unique case, and everyone has unique needs. Some of the things are not a problem, and others are a problem for every one of the people that we deal with. So all of us that are trying to help seniors, it's a very individual.
Yeah. That's why I choose the name of my company, Person Centered Senior Solutions.
Right.
Trying to find a name, and I'm all about putting that person in the center. And it's a very holistic approach too. You got to look at everything. I do a whole family dynamic consult, what's going on. I'll do a whole life story, get to know who they were. All of those things help me to personalize my support to them. I think that's my OT in me. That's very, as an OT, we're always like looking at that occupational profile, like everything about them to help serve them. So yeah, I agree 100%.
Yes. So that's great. Well, you have helped the audience a lot, because I know this is a stressful time for everyone. But this is the time when families get together, and they may also be noticing. So if they're noticing some changes and they don't know what to do, call Rhonda and figure out if it's something that needs to be addressed one way or another. I mean, it could be get your medicines checked, or, it could be anything from a big deal to a small, but I'm sure Rhonda would be happy to talk you through it a little bit. So, so thank you so much. This has been so beneficial and so informational. It's been great, because this is the crises come, and this is hard for everybody. And it's good to know that people like Rhonda are out there to help.
Yes, me. And if I don't know if you share like contact information, Betsy.
Yes.
Okay, good. I also, there's also, if I'm not the one, you can go to the Aging Life Care Association. You can search for aging life care professionals like me. There's a ton of us in the area. Everybody very, very qualified. Everybody with a different little expertise as well.
And other people in other areas, because often, we may live here, but our parents live in Florida. We should make sure they have those credentials.
Yes. Usually I do some national people living outside of this area, but I also will connect people. So, regardless, give me a call, and I could always direct you to.
Right. That's great. Well, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you, Rhonda, for being with me today. And do contact me, contact Rhonda. We'll find you the help you need.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody.
Everybody have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.